today, to open up the class, my name is Tyler Sullivan. I am one of the owners of Sullivan Beauty, New England's premier beauty supply distributor who gets to represent this fabulous brand called Evo Hair. And one of the really intriguing products within the Evo brand is Fabuloso Pro. Fabuloso Pro is a customized color maintenance system, which are conditioner bases that you can mix in basically this semi-permanent direct dye pigment to create a customized formula to send your guest home with and keep their hair and their color refreshed and vibrant in between professional services at the salon. We love Evo Fabuloso Pro because it's a simple standalone system that works with any hair color system that you're using. In fact, the reason that this class came up today was one of our attendees today, her name is Tatiana Reynolds, coming from Connecticut, happens to be an educator for another color company called Davines. And she's been using Evo Fabuloso Pro to customize color conditioners for her clients so they can keep their hair color vibrant in between their color services. And Tatiana requested this class, and right on the heels of that, another salon requested a Fab Pro class. So we said, why don't we try and blow this up and make this available for anybody who wants to explore the system or anybody who's interested in playing with it a little bit more, or maybe somebody who's trying to use it but not really sure how to use it. So today what we're going to do, we're going to overview Evo Fabuloso Pro. We are going to talk a little bit about how Joey likes to use it in his salon. And then we're going to talk a little bit about formulation and some techniques and tips that he likes to do to use it. We'll also talk about how to market it, etc. So it'll be a lot of fun for everybody. You guys can log in and you can log out whenever's clever if you need to. We're going to have this recorded. We're going to post it on Sullivan Beauty's YouTube page. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Joey Figueiredo, and his Instagram handle is Stylist Joey. If you guys are on Instagram, check him out. He is joining us this morning from the great city of Kansas City, Missouri, a very hip area in the Midwest, of course. And he's also the owner of salon Daisy Figueiredo Salon. So Joey, you've been using Fab Pro for how long in the salon, and what do you like to use it for?
So Joey Figueiredo here. I've been using Fab Pro and all of Evo for about 6 years now. And I've been an educator for them for now almost 3 years. Worked my way up to be a North American regional. So there's only about 4 of us in the US. So hopefully I'll be able to come out to you guys and really teach advanced classes with this, with Fab Pro and also cutting and coloring. You don't have to specialize. You don't have to use fashion colors to use Fab Pro. I use this in a very natural way, but I do have those clients that do want those rainbow colors. And instead of having a whole stock of, all this color, I can create any color up to 22,000 colors with this Fab Pro that's right behind me. I got a little setup there. I don't know if you could see, but so that's how I use it. And there's just like some little tips and tricks that I use in my salon that hopefully you guys can use. It looks intimidating at first, but once we break down to the basics, it's super, super simple. And that's what Evo is all about.
Great. One of the things that I really like about today's class and the fact that you're teaching it, Joey, is because the Fab Pro customized conditioners, you can mix the repair base with these really fun semi-permanent direct dyes to create these beautiful fashion tones to keep people with like these funky hair colors nice and vibrant in between services. Yes, we can do these crazy fashion tones, and yes, we can send somebody home with a customized conditioning base to keep that vibrant, but how do we use it more naturally? And that's how you're typically using it in the salon. So that'd be fun. So let's start from the top. What is Evo Fabuloso Pro and how do you like to use it? The floor is yours, Joey.
All right. I always start my introduction because I know there's a lot of people that are new to Evo and they don't know what we're all about. So I just want to go really quickly over what Evo is all about. Evo is about no gimmicks. They're all about just really empowering the stylist and breaking out of the norm. That's why our little tagline is saving ordinary humans from themselves, because we can kind of get put in these boxes, especially by brands. And then you can only do this certain thing. Evo is really about like getting out there and really busting out of your just typical everyday behind the chair staff. So, and it's also still owned and created by a hairstylist. The family that still own it, so they're amazing. They own Hair Care Australia, and it's an amazing distributorship. But creating this line about 15 years ago really helped us really connect a stylist on a stylist to stylist basis. And, you know, it's just basically, we just want to challenge the status quo and inspire the movement of free thinkers to really create for the better. And then honest beauty, products that respect people and the planet. So everything from our packaging to our labeling to every ingredient that we put into it, we really feel like it's super important to have that in there and not just throw it in there because it's a key word in the industry at that time. As we go into Fabuloso and Fabuloso Pro and the Stano, we still have the 4 pillars of what Evo is all about. Integrity. We really believe in what we put in our products. The simplicity, not only just by the packaging, but the simplicity of even the education. A lot of our education, it's really commercial now, but a couple of years ago, we were having mullets and like cool color, like cutting techniques. And it was a little too much for the commercial person. And I know the mullet in the Midwest, nobody wanted to learn that. That was 2 years ago. Now Miley Cyrus has it and everybody's like, remember that mullet? Can you teach us now? You know, so it's always innovating and always going above and beyond what we're learning now. So an innovation, we always want to push the boundaries with our products and also our education. And then playfulness. This is my favorite thing. I'm a kid at heart. And if you look through all our classes and everything that I do with Evo and what Evo is all about, we love to have fun with hair. It's at the end of the day, it's just hair, right?
I'm going to jump in for a hot minute here because you touched on something that I think all of the attendees in this class need to be aware of. The Evo Fabuloso Pro system, guys, it's obviously a customized color maintenance system, but what you need to know is it's totally ammonia free. It's peroxide free. It's got total respect of the scalp and the hair integrity. So these repair bases, which is this conditioning base that you mix the pigment into, it not only keeps the hair vibrant, but it is like a beautiful conditioning base. It's like a mask that you would use that leaves the hair in beautiful condition. So total respect of scalp and hair integrity. And it's vegan, it's cruelty-free, it's made without sulfates, parabens, or gluten. So, I mean, it kind of checks off all those boxes. But one of the things that's unique about Evo is they're not out there boasting all of that information. They're just doing the right thing because that's the way they operate. So something for you guys to know.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to go through those pillars, because as we go through, we'll be touching on those little pieces and exactly what Tyler said. We're not here for gimmicks, you know, so we're just putting out the honesty out there in the world. So this is a unique customized color maintenance system that complements any hair coloring system out there. So right now I use Schwarzkopf. I used to use Davines. So you don't have to have Evo per se in your salon, but it will complement everything from that to not only use in salon, but also in your repair take homes as well. So this is the visual of all our colors. So you can literally mix up to, I believe it was 22,000 different tones and colors with this. As right here is our repair conditioner. Consider this white paint. So I always look at it in the way of, if you go and pick a paint swatch from Home Depot or Lowe's, and you go in there, they're basically, when you see it mixed in, you'll be a little bit of this, a little bit of this color, a little bit of this, and then all white in a white base. That's what this white is. It's already pre-filled in our maintenance take homes, in our repair take homes. So this is kind of like the bucket of paint, and then we'll be mixing in our yellows, blues, violets, or oranges, or whatever the formula consists of into this, up to 80 grams, a key number in this whole presentation, 80 grams, to maintain. This is for take homes. This is not for salon use. It's for your client to take home as retail.
Okay, so when I'm looking at the picture there, that big white bottle on the left, that is that repair conditioning base, almost like your white paint. And then those other two bottles, those must be pigment, but they're bigger than the rest of the bottles. How come those two bottles are bigger than the rest?
It's because they were using it a lot more. It's the big leaders they were using that pigment more.
Okay.
That platinum conditioner right next to red was my most amazing pigmented conditioner for platinum. It was what I used to use for toning in the back bowl, but also you can use that to really cool down formulas. So if you have like a warm red or you want to cool down a little bit, you can use that platinum to just cool and smoke that formula out a little bit. And I can go over that too if you want to. But yeah, that's what I usually use it for. And you can use a really, really pretty rose golds with it. That's kind of what I was kind of going toward, that rose gold, pinky reddish color. You can really use that. So we were using that a lot because we didn't have our Fabuloso Pro Platinum shampoo. So I was using that to tone in the back of my back bar as well. But it's a platinum conditioner.
Okay, got it. So basically what we're looking at is the whole system right here. Like this little boutique package is the whole system. And on your left, you have the big repair conditioning base, which you will also end up mixing into some of your formulas into the smaller repair base all the way to the right. And then the rest are all pigments that you mix in. So that's a pretty boutique little system that allows you to mix up a plethora of colors, of course.
And right, Tyler, this is a great thing because I am in a studio by myself. I have very limited space. I know a lot of people in big cities have limited space in their salon, and this is the perfect little system because, as I said, I don't need, 38 fashion colors in my shelf that I don't have space for whenever I need it because I have it right here. We can actually do color refreshing services, color fills, so darkening lighter hair. So you have to, and we'll kind of go through that little chart there, filling the hair before you go darker, like a level 6 to 5 or 4, so it doesn't get that muddy color feel. And then also color toning and pastels. Right now, I'm actually doing a TikTok video right after this about toning back and shift coloring blondes, because now it's the holidays. So some people don't want to have that super platinum blonde. We can actually shift their toning very easily, and it doesn't last as long as a semi-permanent toner. So they can completely change that and maintain it right at home.
Totally. And you know what? I think that this is good to ask right now. One of our attendees, Sierra Russo, writes, "Hi peeps. So on some of the Fab Pro swatches, the formulas for take home are only 20 grams.
Yes.
Are we supposed to add another 60 grams of conditioner base in so they end up with 80 grams total when they go home with that repair base? Or do pastels and toners only get 20 grams?
Everything, and we'll go through this chart. There's a chart later on in here that really helps you depending on what level it is and how intense you want your color to kind of gauge. But we want it to be all 80 grams. That's the perfect amount for those bottles. So this one with like the little copier machine, this will have all your new formulas on it. So you can contact Sullivan. I'm sure you guys can get some books for them as well to grab. But there's also little formulas on here. I don't know if you can see those, but and I'll go over those as well and why it's so important for 80 grams. But yes, if you want a pastel, let's just say, you would fill up maybe like 10 grams of pigment and 70 grams of conditioner base to create that take-home pastel.
Okay, great. So Sierra, of course, we're always going for that 80 grams total. It looks like, guys, in the chat that both Kerry Sullivan, my brother, and Kima Morrison, our regional director, have both put the Evo Fab Pro Salon Guide in there that you can download. So feel free to download that. You can take a peek at that, and that's going to help you work through some of those formulas to reference.
Yeah, so just kind of going back on track here for the features and benefits. As we said, it's a customized color maintenance. It is a direct dye in a conditioner base, so it's ammonia-free and peroxide-free. It's actually really conditioning to the hair, so it's almost like, I consider it more like a color treatment as well, especially for those porous ends and really bleach outs. I know you have to bleach out some people and really get it to that white hair. This is really great to use as a filler or even toning it because it's really conditioning to that processed hair. We have unlimited color palettes. a lot of our educators, we use swatches, and we make a really swatch wall for big salons with formulas on it. So if you come up with a really cool formula, you know, to remember that, you can write that on the swatch wall. That's some really good creative tips for big salons. And it's not a permanent color, and we fade true to tone, especially with Stano. I can't wait to get to that because it's pretty amazing.
This is basic, but I do want to ask it. When you say we fade true to tone, what's that mean? It's not going to get all murky and funky, or what?
My biggest visual, because we all get this, is if you put blue direct dye on hair, it starts to fade into that weird muddy green gray color. And when it means true to tone, it's going to just fade to a true like pastel blue. When we say true to tone, that's what it is. So this is a direct dye. It's ionic pigment. So what's so important is the way the molecules attach to the hair. So it's positively charged ions within this conditioner. So it only attaches to negative ions. So like you have to process the hair to then apply this direct dye pigment conditioner right on top. So it attaches very well. I've done it on natural hair, but it just doesn't last as long. And I can also do it on some gray hair, especially Stano. But as with gray hair, it will stain it just so slightly, but it's not processed. So it's gonna just fade out pretty easy. So I love to do my refreshes with this, color refreshes, and also filling and toning. So it really works well in towel dried hair. So I always like to get the hair wet first, shampoo it out. Sometimes I like to use normal person's shampoo, the gently cleansing, because it's a little bit higher pH. Really get that hair clean and then towel dry it. I like to also put Day of Grace, which is our hair primer. I like to use it as a porosity filler before applying my formula to the hair. So I like to mix these up in 20-gram increments. If you guys look on the back chart, because everybody asks, what's the 20 grams to the 80 grams and what's the difference? So the difference is, let's just grab a level 6 here. So if you guys can see here, let's see if there is a salon formula in parentheses 20 grams and a retail formula parentheses 80 grams. We're just gonna stick with the salon formula. So the salon formula, the way I like to describe it is 20 grams is a serving size. This is a serving size for your formula. So for just a natural level, natural level 6 is 8 grams of blue, or 8 grams of blue, 8 grams of chocolate, and 4 grams of green. So that's gonna make a level 6, just a natural level 6, which actually I use a lot for the salon formula. But if I'm gonna do a full refresh, I'm gonna need at least 100 grams. So I times that 20 by 5. Does that make sense? So that's just to get the formula, and then we multiply it to create how much we need. What I love about the 20-gram increments is if you just need a little bit more, you can just add that formula of 20 grams. You could just mix up 20 grams of it, or 40 grams. So I'm not very good at math, but I can multiply by 20, okay? So that's a great way of looking at it. So let's just go on again to something. Let's grab a pastel real quick, because a lot of people like pastels. So to create this really cool violet pastel color, the salon formula is 40 grams or 20 grams. So it's 4 grams of violet, 1 gram of red, 1 gram of blue, and 14 grams of conditioner base. Remember, that's the way to dilute your intensity of your pigments. So for a bob, let's just say, I might need 60 grams of color. So I'm gonna multiply that by 3, that 20 grams, to create the whole on-head formula. So that's just for salon formulas. That's for in-salon treatments and formulations, is it 20 grams.
And what are you using it for the most in salon? Are you using it for toning services? Are you using it to fill? Are you using it for color shifts? What do you use it most for in salon?
My clients, even though I specialize in gray coverage and I do a lot of multi-dimensional blondes, with gray coverage. I use this for a lot of refreshing and toning aspects to it because my blondes, and a lot of my clients, they know I'm the king of change. When they come in here, I don't even write their formula down because I always like to shift it somehow. It keeps them engaged in my services. But even if it's just like slight tonal change, I love to use that because it gives you the shine and the condition and the reparative aspects of it within their formula. So I love to do that. Also, I love to use this as a shadow root as well. So on my blondes, I'll use that natural level 6 as a shadow root and blend that out because it's really soft, but it still gives it that dimension that they need. Also with my blondes, we all have the blondorexics where they want some lowlights in their hair. They want dimension, but we all know if you put a level 7 lowlight in their hair, they think they already went to a level 3. They're like, oh my God, take it out. It's too dark. So what I love to do this, I'll put this formula in their foils. One, they can try it because it only lasts up to 8 to 16 washes, depending on the intensity of the color. But they can rinse it out and it will fade out naturally. So they can kind of try it on before we put a semi-permanent color on their hair. So that's the way I like to use it. But if you have people that love to change their hair up, especially with direct dyes, this is perfect for them because it's not going to last super, super long without maintenance, but then we can create their formula in these take homes to then make it last a lot longer as well. So that's why this whole system of in-salon and take homes is so important.
Okay, great. And so one of the questions that came through from Brittany Vining is she loves, using it for her vivid take homes and she's got that down pat, but what are some great natural mixtures and how to use it more on natural colors? So those are some examples, a shadow root that you just spoke of. And maybe when we get to the formulation section, we're looking at the chart, you can share with us a couple of your favorite natural formulas that you use.
Yeah. And also, if you guys don't follow at Evo Pro on Instagram, go to their IGTVs. You'll see one of mine that I did when we were all stay at home. And I did demonstrate different formulas and how I use it on my mannequin. So I have a very ashy tone, which I do with lavender and steno with a lot of clear to make a really, really silvery blonde. And then I also make a really golden color. So I do a golden color on the other side with a shadow root on there. So that's just a little formulations I have on IGTV on Evo Pro. So you can always look at that as well.
Awesome.
To really create take homes for your clients, something customizable that they can't get off Amazon, we have their formula. We just created it from scratch. So they can't get this off anywhere else or go to another salon and create it themselves. So that's what's so awesome about this. So the way I like to do it, let's just say let's go back to that violet pastel color, right? So we just created this beautiful violet pastel, but we all know that it takes 2 hours to bleach out their hair. And we put this in, they have a 3-hour service. And then if they don't use any maintenance, those pastels can really fade out really quick. And then they're thinking, gosh, I spent all this money and time at the salon and now my hair is fading. And this goes for any pastels or anything in the color range. Well, now that we have something to take home, they can elongate that intensity of their hair all the way through, especially with pastels. I'm just going to go through the formulations with you with the take home. So we did this beautiful 20-gram formulation on the blonde bob, right? With this pastel. Well, I'm going to mix up a take home which is going to be up to 80 grams. So the swatch says 16 grams of violet, 4 grams of red, 4 grams of blue, and 56 grams of conditioner base. So just like that question before, do we fill it all the way up to 80? Yes, all the time. So if you want to just dilute that for a pastel, just add a crap ton of conditioner base. So let's go. That's what I love about this new book, because the old book had very cool fashion colors. But if you look at this, we now have all the natural tones and also toners. So we have ash toners, beige toners, copper toners now. So it's really easy to use. And I have to say, once you get the concept and like you get the pumps, you could freehand this if you want. I'm a freehander, so you can kind of create which one you want. When I'm taking this at home, obviously I will write down the formula and do the scale just to make sure I have 80 grams so I don't waste money. But so yeah, let's do a beige blonde, all right? So the retail formula is 21 grams of chocolate. A really good tip, guys, is these been sitting in boxes in the warehouse and everything like that for a while. So what I like to do is just shake it up, loosen up that conditioner base in there just a little bit so it's easier for you guys to shake.
I get a lot of comments on the fragrance, how beautiful it smells. It's not like overpowering.
Tyler, I don't know what it is. This year, I don't know why, but I've been displaying these bottles out and everybody asks, why do you have half milk jugs there? And then I explain the process, I explain everything, then they smell it. I actually just get people just buying this. So I fill it up with 80 grams of just conditioner because they love it's different from the line. And it just smells so good.
Great fragrance.
All right, so we got that here, right? All right.
Joey, do you ever pre-mix any colors and leave them on the retail shelf? I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, I go into a lot of salons that do that. I do not because I don't have a big salon with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I mean, I might see 14 people a day, but I would like to put it on there, and I like to. It's more of an experience for my clients. So I like to. It's not just something on there. I have my Fabuloso boosters, but I like to customize it. It just creates more of an experience for them. So we have chocolate, yellow, and violet. Chocolate, yellow, and violet.
So Joey, after you get your colors, my first question for you is, what is your digital scale reading right now? You put that on there. Did you tear it out so it's just reading 0?
Yep. So basically, it all starts at 0. I put it like if you're mixing color, I put the scale on before the bottle on there before I do anything. All right. And then I'll put it on. So it's going to be 21 grams of chocolate. So we got our chocolate here. And you're just going to pump in 21 grams. Let's see. Almost there. Perfect. 21 on the spot. I never do that. And then we got 21 grams of yellow. So we have our yellow here.
Yep. So
we're going to do 21 grams. So that'd be 42, right? I'm really bad at math. Sometimes I have to reset it just to get my math right. 42. It's like if you're OCD, like you pump gas, you have to get it right on the dollar. This is the system for you. Then we have 3 grams of violet. So it's going to smoke this out just a little bit, this violet, cool it down just so slightly, but we have only 3 grams of that. So we are at 45. And then 35 grams of conditioner base. Remember, this is our conditioner base. We also have Stano Clear as well. So this is completely intermixable. So you can mix Stano and Fabuloso Pro together flawless or seamlessly. So we're gonna do that, 35 grams, and that's gonna make 80 grams total.
And Joey, do you find that you run out of one color quicker than the others? And if so, can you just order that one color from your distributor?
Yeah, so that's what's so great is you can I do a lot of natural tones. So I have a lot of conditioner. I have a lot of brown chocolate, and then a lot of blue and greens because a lot of people don't like too much warmth in their hair. So I have backstock of those colors because yeah, I use a lot of those. But if you know that you're going to use a lot of one color, just get a backstock of it and be like that. So this is what it looks like when it's all in there. Then we're going to mix it up. A little trick of it, like I love sales. I love, there's something about it. I know a lot of hairstylists like, I'm not a salesperson. I like to create experiences. So that's actually selling without being a weird car salesman, you know? So I like to give them an experience. So I'm like, do you want to do the honors? And they're like, what? I'm like, shake it up. So then I give it to them and they shake up their own formula. Okay. So it gives them a little bit. Sometimes I have like, you know, somebody that doesn't do it, and then I'm like, okay, give it to me. I want to shake it up. So, so there you go.
Now that's a beige blonde formula, and you pulled that formula directly from the swatch book, and on the back of the swatch, it showed you the take-home formula that you had to put together.
What I like to do too is just dip my finger in there too, almost like if a paint swatch at the store. I guess with COVID, I don't know if we should be doing that, but maybe you could take like a little brush or something. I don't know. And just wipe it on there and be like, you know what, that's perfect, you know? And then that's their take homes. Now with these take homes, when they do it at home, my little tip and trick, I always tell them, this is not, you can do this every time or every other shampoo, depending on the dense or the intensity of their hair. If they're in pastels, I'm gonna tell them to do that every single time, just because I know that those pigments are gonna rinse out pretty quick. If it's like a super deep red, ruby red, I would say like do it every like second or third time, just to really refresh those ends.
Joey, one of the questions that comes up with these take-home conditioners is, okay, I've got a client that came in and she's got a multi-dimensional, let's say red. Let's say she's got strawberry blonde highlights, and then she's got a deeper red underneath. If you're going to send her home with a repair conditioning based from the Fabuloso Pro line, what are you formulating for? Are you formulating for that deeper red, or are you formulating for the lighter strawberry blonde that's in her hair?
Yeah. And same thing goes with like super cool rainbow colors. Fabuloso Pro Take Home is not meant for multicolored hair because it's virtually impossible to refresh just the yellow, just the green, just the purple in the shower. So what I like to do is, especially with my multi-dimensional gray coverage clients, that I formulate for the lightest color in their hair. So I always have like a level 5 with a level 7 highlight in there. So I'm going to formulate for that level 7. So if I want it to be more beige, I'm going to give her the beige formula there, because it's not really going to attach or affect the darker color in her hair. It's only this. Okay. Now, or if you're going to do a red and yellow, I don't know. Let's just say red and yellow. You want to formulate for the yellow. If you want to make sure, one, the yellow is going to fade out quicker. And then also it might brighten up the red a little bit, but it's not going to attach to the red per se. So the only ways I remember Pete in Australia, he does a lot of like multi-tone, like split tones. So like a yellow and a green on one side. You could mix up two formulas. They can do that themselves, you know? Yeah. So, but yeah, always formulate for the lightest color in their hair.
Okay. And then I want to talk about the intensity of the pigment in that, in that base that you just mixed up. Would our client expect to see her fingernails turn brown? If they're using a red, is it going to stain the floor of the shower? Like, what's your experience with that?
So my experience is that, remember, these are positive ions attaching to negative ions. So I do feel like sometimes those do attach to drier skin sometimes, but it rinses out pretty easy. But I always use gloves, or you can also send your client home with gloves. If they're going to use fashion colors and Stano, they already know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So this is great for them to refresh their hair, but they know there's going to be some stainage. They know that that's going to happen, but it's not. These are just maintenance. It's just a very diluted version of your formula to maintain their hair. So this is not to really reapply and refresh their hair fully. That's our salon formula. That's more intense. This is more of a lesser intense formula to just kind of maintain and refresh at home.
So that's good to know. That means that, we saw during the COVID closures, some people were actually sending their color formulas home to people. And there was a lot of conversation about that, right? Some people are like, do not do that. Other people are like, look, I'm trying to help my people out, whatever, right? And I'm not going to take a side there. But my point is, with this product, you're not sending it home so they can actually redo their hair color. You're keeping it vibrant, and it's not as intense as the professional formula that you're using with whatever color line you're using Schwarzkopf right now in salon. That's going to be specifically for in salon, and this product is specifically for maintenance in between color services.
And the stay-at-home orders, that was a whole different world that nobody ever thought we would be in, right? So we were all just trying to survive. So yeah, we were all fighting with each other. You know what? I was dealing with my clients. I was dealing with my business. So I wasn't judging anybody for that, but I'm glad we had Fab Pro, and Fab Pro went ballistic because now we had formulas we could create and send off. There's a couple of TikToks of me hand delivering these at people's doors. But we actually, with the stay at home, this is not what we recommend anymore, but we were putting more pigment. So the pigment load was a lot more for them. So it was a little bit more intense for them. But we went back to maintenance and that. But also with this, the stay at home order, the silver lining was, oh my gosh, I need this for now on. I need this for my maintenance, color maintenance, because now they understood why we use it and how important home maintenance is, because they didn't have us every 3, 4, 6 weeks, you know? So that was super awesome to do. But yeah, it was perfect for that. People that have been doing it, can I just get you to how you guys use it in your salon? Is that how you guys use it at your salon as well?
Yeah, you know what? We'll let them answer that. And I've got another question for you. We're going to go into pricing in a minute, but we have Caitlin Bird with us, and Caitlin has a comment that she would like to share. So I'm going to invite her to jump in here. Caitlin.
Hey, I won't take my video off. I am makeup free, so I won't do that to everyone. However, I just wanted to call out that question about, and to Joey's point about our take-home maintenance conditioners. So it is super important to remember this is not designed to take away from the client coming back and sitting in your chair every 4 to 6 weeks. As Tyler mentioned, this is about maintenance. So it's preventing that fadage from happening kind of from mids to ends. It's not strong enough to cover their regrowth or cover their gray. So it's not going to prevent them from coming back to see you to get that service done. It's about making sure that their hair looks the best it possibly can between the time that they're sitting in your chair. So I think about it as this. We'll use a redhead as an example. We wash our hair as redheads. You know, the water is pink as that pigment kind of starts to shed out of the hair. So what you're doing is just replacing that little bit of pigment with our maintenance conditioners each time that client washes. So again, it's not about taking away from them coming back into the chair. It's about making sure that their hair is vibrant, treated, and constantly refreshed until they come back into the salon to see you.
And Caitlin, too, the goal in that, the number one thing we always say is invest in your invest in your hair, right? Protect your investment. That's what Fabuloso Pro Take Homes is just protecting your color investment that we just did in your hair. So
absolutely, it's insurance for your hair color, if you will.
And you know, that's a nice segue, guys, into my next question, and that question revolves around pricing. You know, I see here in New England where we're based, a lot of people are pricing this anywhere in between 35 to 40. I know Kansas City, Missouri is a very hip kind of upscale culture. I mean, it's a big city, right? So you have all sorts of diversity of income on that scale. But what do you guys price it at, Joey, in your salon? What are your clients buying it for?
I do this at 55 because my clientele, you know, it's a little bit more luxury. So, sorry, I'm getting a little backlash there. So they're used to that, you know. But a great thing is when they are done with this is a great one if you're a green salon or you are concerned about the environment as well as I am. They can come and bring this back and they get $5 off their take homes. So they can come back and, you know, I don't have to, you know, I mean, I like to buy it fresh, but like there's a lot of people that like to just bring it back in. I'll fill it up to the line, 220 milligrams of conditioner in there. So that's what it would come in as, and, you know, fill up your formula from there. So if you're concerned about, you know, using your own, I know Tatiana, we were talking about this before, and you have your own system, which works for you, great. But that's another way I do it is $5 off when they bring it back. But I usually just get it. I have a whole stock of milk jugs over here with Fab Pro in it that I do. So that's another way of doing it. But the nice middle part is $45. it is customizable because our Fabuloso is 35. So, I mean, this is customizable. What about 10 more bucks on it or whatever, you know? So you guys
Right.
can gauge that for yourself.
Yeah, and you know, it's a very profitable service for you guys. The cost of putting together a formula is very minimal, and it's based on what package you buy. There's basically two packages: the tailor-made package, which has one of each of the colors, and also one big repair, and then you get 12 of the smaller repair bases. And then that's $700 and you get $184 worth of free goods. So that's a 26% savings. The other salon intro is a 47% savings. That one has 24 of these repair bases and a lot more free goods, $413 worth of free goods. So that's a 47% savings. So it really kind of depends on what package you buy of what your base cost to do the service is going to be.
When I first bought mine, it came with like 20 free conditioner bases. These were free. So then when you sell them, it literally pays for your whole system. So it also gives you a little bit extra too. So that's a good way of looking at it is these come free with your intros and then just sell them because we have them and know the importance of it. And then they're just going to come back and refill it more. So
Carrie, what you got?
It's nice to see the repair conditioners on promotion a lot from Evo. So there are ways to kind of leverage and like, you know, buy up a couple months out or whatever when it goes on deal outside of our 3 sale events per year, which it's all of it's on deal during the sale events, including the pigments.
So Joey, I got another question for you here. You showed us just a second ago one of the Evo Fabulosos, okay?
Yeah.
And this class is based on Evo Fabuloso Pro. Now, what is the difference for maybe some of us who are new to the brand, or maybe some of us are carrying one but not the other? Like, what's Fabuloso versus Fab Pro?
Fabuloso is color boosting treatments. These are actually more potent than just your take homes, but these are already pre-mixed. So we have a cool brown, we have platinum conditioner, which was my #1 product in the salon for blondes, really going to take out and cancel out any yellow tones. And then also we have light beige, purple reds. I mean, we have what, eight shades of Fabuloso now. And these are great for boosting treatments and boosting that hair color. So these are already pre-mixed. So if you guys, let's say you do a lot of natural tones, what the great thing about Fabuloso and Evo is you can buy what you need. I don't do a ton of redheads. So I have it as my backstock, but I don't need to buy it. So I can buy all my natural tones. So my color shifts, like, you know, during the fall and winter, some blondes like to be a light beige. Some people like to keep it silvery. You know, there's the caramel as well for that warmer tone. So that's the way I use it for all of that. So they're just boosters. So they're gonna boost and condition and keep your hair really shiny. And I use this in the same way as every second or third time, or depending on what you want or how intense your hair wants to be. And also wear gloves, especially with cool brown. Cool brown, I would say literally sits at a level 5. But if you want to dilute that with just regular conditioner, like the Therapist or Ritual Salvation, you can dilute that to make it like a level 6, a level 7. But it is a very green blue. So just be wary because you're painting on top of paint, basically. So you don't want to build up too much of the pigment. So kind of back off of it a little bit if you need to.
All right, so 2 things here. Number 1 is you asked earlier how people are using it in salon. And Laura Sharp wrote back, I use it for toning in copper tones. You had also just mentioned that you don't do a ton of reds, Joey. So are you using it for toning scenarios in salon frequently?
Exactly. And I just did a beautiful apricot, which I'll be putting on my IGTV soon, an apricot blonde of talking about tonal shifts. So you can put that nice little copper tone right over to that blonde and get a nice apricot feel to it. So, but yeah, for sure, you doing those as toners are just amazing because, you know, toners fade out as well. So we're just going to refresh those toners at home.
You know, one of the things I really want to do in this class is, you know, Tatiana requested this class, right? And she had some specific ideas of, you know, I need some help with this. And I think it had to do with formulation with her Davines product. So I think it might be kind of cool, Tatiana, if you're down for it, to really make this interactive in a way where you can ask a couple of those questions of Joey in real time. And I think we're all going to benefit from them. So if you're cool with that and you don't mind coming off mute, I'd like to turn over the table to you, hear about how you're using it a little bit with your Davines color formulas, and ask Joey any questions that you want. So Tatiana, the floor is yours.
I've been using Fab Pro for several years now. And I'm finding now with that addition of black several years ago that I'm wanting this more for my clients that are transitioning out of color. I do a lot of talking my clients away from higher maintenance processes and having those high highlights in there to kind of pull that white through their ends and through their old color. I'm not as familiar with black as I think I should be, you know, and you had mentioned that violet and the platinum help to cool down any formula. But I think I'm interested in what that black can do for us. And I think Silver Fox is one of the swatches in the book that was the first time it like kind of caught my eye. I know for myself, I educate for Davines and I have the old formula book, which is great for matching those. But obviously have the new Fab Pro book that has that copy machine on it. It has all your levels there. You're not having to look at an actual book. You can look at the box.
So I used black so just as like white would dilute product, I use black to deepen the tone of product. So you're only using a very, very slight amount of it. But if you like, let's say I was doing multi-dimensional gray. So I was literally doing the white blonde. I would use just a little bit of that to tone because it's a blue black. So it's more of a cooler black. So I would do paint those in as like a little bit of a low light, but then using it as a toner. So you have to really use platinum and a little bit of black in your formulas to really tone like all that yellow out to make it that white silvery color. And I use that Silver Fox formula in the book a lot. Sometimes I'll dilute it just a little bit more. But that's the way to get a really nice silvery color. And then to maintain that, I will mix in Silver Fox in there, or just a little bit of black with a little bit of platinum in there as well, almost making it as a pastel so they can maintain that silvery color on the ends. But unfortunately, you can't maintain the black, like the low light in there, because the lightest color is your white gray color. Does that make sense? I think that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's usually those new highlights of removing color that need some help along the way while they're at home.
What also I recommend using is the new Fabuloso Pro shampoo, because it is the highest pigmented purple shampoo out on the market, but it's still really conditioning to the hair. So it's really going to take out any unwanted yellow tones. So it really actually makes a really cool silver color if you get it to the right level 10, you know. Another thing too, for everyone out there using the fashion colors or using pastels, you have to make sure that you get to the correct level of a high level 9 or level 10 at least for pastels, because it will just tone out the yellow instead of making it very much like that pastel color. So I go into a lot of salons, I'm sure you do too, and where you people are like, oh, can I get it to a level 9? And it's really a level 8. So it's not going to attach as much to a level 8 that it would to a level 10. So that's a super important area to know where your underlining pigments with when your lightening hair is. for your
Um,
formula.
I wanna ask Caitlin Bird actually just to speak to the overall reason that Evo has added black to Fab Pro. Like, what is the purpose there? How do we like to use that? So Caitlin, if you don't mind, let us know.
Absolutely. So just so you guys are aware, the reason that black was created was in order to create depth in our recipes and formulas. Typically, people were using chocolate as that is kind of your neutral base, right? Well, chocolate sits at about a level 5 with a red underlying tone. So in order, it really got created for our Asian market. We did really well with Fab Pro in the Asian market, and we needed to be able to create levels under level 5. So in order to do so, that is why we created black. So black will be able to cater to those levels 1 through 4. Now it does add a good amount of depth. Black should be used in small increments. So some of our recipes and darker shades will call for black in the recipe, but you'll notice there'll be like 1 to 2 gram mixtures. So it is very intense in its pigmentation, really, really strong. And as Joey mentioned before, it does have a blue undertone. So just being aware when you're using black on those darker levels, you're going to use it in small increments. You can also use black to create more pastelized formulas. If you add black to, say, a lilac formula or a violet tone, it's going to kind of muddy or mute out that tone, so make it more matte and kind of those flatter effects. So you can use black in a variety of different ways, but it was traditionally created for those darker levels of hair. So I, encourage you guys to experiment with it kind of on a white piece of paper or paper towel first, and adding little bits of black and increasing those increments as you go up. So just be aware it can overtake those formulas because it is more pigment in that black bottle. And I think that's a good point to call out as well. As you are purchasing or reordering black, you'll notice it's a little bit more expensive than the other shades at the back bar. And the reason being is just the cost of the concentration of pigment in that bottle.
So that's great, because Tatiana just wrote into the chat, is it true that black is more pigmented? So the answer to that is yes, correct?
Absolutely.
A great way to use black as well, and Caitlin and what I said too, is use it in very small amounts to deepen color. So a great one I usually use is plum. I use plum a lot on my clients to create like a nice eggplant color. I add a little bit of black. So like I would do my salon formula be 20 grams. So 17 grams of Steno plum with like 3 grams of black. It will deepen that plum color and make it really eggplanty. But as you were saying, like kind of experiment. I love to mix this up like little by little and experiment with different formulations as well.
Awesome. We have another question about the shampoos from Leah Bruning. She writes, what about the shampoos? Does the Fab Pro line have a shampoo that you can mix the pigment into?
We don't, because this is real. The shampoo, when you're shampooing, you're really trying to break up that dirt and oil and everything like, in your hair and give you good scalp maintenance. But then we're going to be depositing that conditioner, which is a lower pH, to shut down that cuticle, give you amazing shine and everything like that. So that's why we use Fab Pro as a conditioner base instead of a shampoo. But that's because there's no really reason to do a color shampoo when we're going to be depositing those ions and those pigments in later.
Fab Pro, the system itself, does not contain a shampoo. We did, however, just recently launch a platinum blonde shampoo in our Fabuloso range. So that is the grab and go retail. This is really great because it's designed to quickly tone out any unwanted yellow tones in the hair. So the shampoo is highly pigmented. It's really consumer friendly. I find that clients really love it because it suds and it lathers. So, just as any shampoo would, you're really lathering it throughout the hair, which means you're getting a really even deposit and an easy application, quick and easy application when using the platinum shampoo. So that is something that we recently launched in the Fabuloso range, which is more grab and go. They're pre-mixed for you. So just being aware that we do have that available in a back bar size as well as a retail size.
Also, just what I've experienced in the salon, buy more, because this will literally go off the shelves. My blondes have literally, it's a game changer for my blondes. And also even my brunettes that go a little brassy when they condition or they fade out and they're not using Fabuloso Pro or whatnot, or take homes. It really helps take out any of those golden tones or those brassy tones, even in my brunettes, like level 6 and under, which is great. But I wanted to show you because we have our Fabuloso shampoo and our Fabuloso booster. I just sold out. I just got new actual retail ones. This is my back bar, but then we have this. The difference is the pigment load as well. So I put some on here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but to the left here, we have our Fabuloso Platinum shampoo, which is super pigmented. And then we have just a little bit of the, on the conditioner. Sorry, just got on my computer.
That, by the way, that left was your left. That was our right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The darker one is your shampoo. The lighter one is our platinum conditioner, which is a lesser potent version. So you just have to gauge on your client on how much yellow tones and golden tones you want out of it for their at-home maintenance. Let me just tell you by experience, they will always overuse their product. It just happens. So just make sure that you're telling them, because if you can overtone your hair with the shampoo, which kind of gets into that like very muddy kind of coloring. So just tell them to back off of it if it does go a little bit too much.
And you know what? I would love to share. There's a great little mini video where it shows the platinum shampoo and conditioner working. So I'm going to share that real quick so you guys can see the effect. I think you guys can see my screen. So let us take a peek at this brief video. I love that. And I love the fact that Evo makes all of their digital assets available for you guys to share on your social media, so you can use that to your benefit, promote it to your clients, and drive them into the salon looking for it. Tatiana writes, can we retail the wide tooth comb? Joey, do you retail the brushes and the wide tooth comb?
I do sell and retail all the brushes and all the tools because they are super important, and I'm also using them, and they always ask me, where can I get one that size or whatever. So it's really easy to do. Also, that video really does specifically, visually say, use gloves. You can always put that into your pricing as well if you need to, but just send them home with some gloves, just because that platinum shampoo especially gets into your nail beds and underneath. So just a little tidbit on that. Also doing that in the back bar as well. I always throw on some gloves to really get in there because I do a lot of platinum shampoo toning.
Ty, we do sell the Fabuloso wide tooth comb for an inexpensive $4.95, in addition to the FSC certified wooden tools, which also has a comb, which is a little bit more of a prestige presentation and product.
$4.95. So I imagine Samantha, who writes, yes, we're selling them individually. You're probably selling them for $9.95, doubling the price. You can let us know in the chat if that's what you're doing. Amanda asks, can this help with well water, brassy hair as well?
Yeah, especially well water. We're in the Midwest, and I get some clients all the way in the rural areas. And yes, it really does help. I really like, for well water situations, I really like using Normal Person's Daily Shampoo. Really take out all that those build up minerals and things like that. Sometimes do it twice, and then replacing it with like Ritual Salvation conditioning with that. But for those brassy tones, especially with well water, yeah, I would use the Fabuloso shampoo to kind of tone out those tones. And the conditioner as well, depending on how intense those brassy tones are. And then also you can formulate one for your brunettes with the Fabuloso conditioner as well, like a level, let's say a level 5 or level 6 to really refresh those. Maybe put a little bit more green or blue in there to kind of counteract any of those brassy tones as well.
And her follow-up question, how long would you leave it on for well water hair?
So same, I would just do it. The manufacturer says 3 to 5 minutes for at home. So the way I describe it to my clients is to just leave the towel around the shower or your bath, really squeeze out a lot of that excess water, because water is going to dilute the pigment load as well. So do that, and then put your Fabuloso take homes on your hair, comb through, really saturate, put on top of your head. Do everything that you need to do in the shower, and that's usually the last thing I rinse off.
Awesome. So I've been polling people on the side here, what do we want to see? And I think, one of the big concepts of Fabuloso Pro, guys, is the fact that it protects your retail, meaning your client can't go out and buy this online somewhere. They are going to need to utilize you for their customized formula to go home with. So because that's like the bulk of what this product is unique and about, I would love, Joey, if possible, and I will send you a couple repair bases to replace this for you, but I want to go step by step one more time with a real beautiful color formulation on the repair base, if you have another one of your quote unquote milk jugs available, where we can show them on the scale, and show us, if you can, zoom in onto the scale of the digital reading so we can actually watch the formulation. By the way, guys, I don't know what brands you represent in the salon. Most of our Evo retails in the mid 20 range, for instance, but this one SKU, this one Fabuloso repair base, which sells for $40, can like intensely increase your retail. And what I love about it is it's not like you have to be a salesperson. It's like, hey, by the way, if you want to keep your color vibrant, we have a beautiful customized conditioning base that you can take home, and it'll stay vibrant in between services. So it's this really unique item, and that's why it's a standalone system that so many people use with their different color lines. We represent Lakme color, we represent Paul Mitchell color, we represent Big Professional color. Joey is using Schwarzkopf, Tatiana is using Davines. We have Goldwell clients using this, Wella clients using this. It doesn't matter. It just creates this really unique revenue stream with one retail product that you can put on your shelf. Love that. While you're doing that, Joey, and we'll talk about the formula in 1 minute, Tatiana writes, older product knowledge said not to milk your hair. Is that true? Can we overwork the pigment in the hair?
Yeah. So the Fabuloso Pro, let's just do it from the salon part of it, salon service. The way I like to mix up my color is in the Fabuloso Pro mixers, which unfortunately I just ordered some more because they fell out of my cabinet and broke. So I don't have any of them, but they're like little mixers. So we're gonna mix the formula in the mixer. So then you can shake it, and because the ions in there, they like to be shaken more than stirred. And then also the way we apply it, and with our Fabuloso Pro brushes, this brush is really formulated because it's a double bristle, and then it picks up the pigment really, really well in the pigments or in the formula. Then when you're applying the pigment, you want to do it in a cross hatch situation. This is why I love this class in a more of a person-to-person thing, because you guys can really see it and do it in class and stuff. But you, instead of milking it through and spreading that pigment, that dilutes the pigment as well. So you don't want to milk it through. On my IGTV, it gives you a really great description of that as well. So you want to crosshatch all the way down. Bad habits do not die. Been doing this for a long time, but I want to do it like a semi-permanent color or toner and milk it through. But if I do that, I just have to know I have to redo that. Just make sure the pigment is on the hair to get that true pigment. Now, it's not wrong. It is wrong on the paper, but you can get really, really cool designs out of it as well. There's you can get a really intense color at the top of the root and milk it through for a very nice pastel-y, less pigmented ends. So you can really, if you really want to dilute that and really fade that color out, you can, yeah, milk it through the ends. Just know that you're not getting the full pigment load on that strand. Now, you can do that you can work it through with Steno, because Steno is basically 4 times the amount of pigment. So you can do that. But I like to keep it right at what I know. So I just put it on where I need it. But cross hatching that technique is super important, and letting it lay. Bleeding as well. You don't get a lot of bleeding with Fab Pro. Unless you have to be careful, like if you're going to put a red over top of a yellow, it may do that. But you can let a blue and a red really sit on top of each other and not worry about bleeding or bleeding in the bowl. So that's a great feature of Fabuloso Pro and Steno, is it's not going to like really bleed on it, but you just have to be careful and be knowledgeable of like, don't put a super dark plum color over top of a yellow or a lime green, because you could get some, but that's how I love to use it, because you can just like lay it right on top of each other on the salon formula. So yes, so the question that, yeah, you can dilute the pigment, but know why you're doing it if you are going to do it.
Awesome.
So yeah,
that's great. So Joey, we've got about 30 minutes left here. We have a couple of requests that I'd love to hit on if possible. One is, how do you use the mixologist menu to figure out your formula? Second, so maybe you can show us that when you do this next repair base. The second is, what do you have any application tips?
Hey, Joey, while you focus on getting yourself set up so we can see you mix a retail, there you go. I might just quickly touch on the application for Tatiana, who lost service. So these back bar conditioner pigments, they are exactly that. They are pigments built into a conditioner base. So it is a really creamy consistency. The way that they work is they are cationic pigments, which means they are positively charged pigments. What they do and how they adhere to the hair is by seeking out the negatively charged ions that sensitized or processed hair emits. So that can be through a lightning application, that could be heat damage, that could be environmental damage. So I think that's a key point, that Fab Pro works best over sensitized hair, meaning if you have virgin hair, this will give you a reflect and you will get a deposit of pigment, but it's going to work best over sensitized or pre-lightened hair. So that being said, the application is super important. Joey kind of demonstrated how we do a crosshair, cross-hatch section. You want to make sure when you're applying this goes on clean towel dried hair. So it always needs to be applied to damp hair. You're going to take small sections when you apply this, and you would apply it in that cross hatch section. And the purpose for that is making sure that you fully saturate the strand of hair. So you do want to make sure that you saturate properly and fully. And the question about milking or overworking the product. What happens when you try to kind of pull that product through the ends of the hair with your hands is you're going to irritate or break the dye molecule. So that's just going to result in a less even results, or even kind of, sorry, I'm having drawing a blank. a less even deposit of pigment. So if you've overworked or milked that product, you're going to see it. It's going to kind of turn white and creamy. It's going to look like a conditioner. So if you see that on the hair, that means that you have overworked the product. So what you would do, as Joey mentioned, you would reapply to that section. So we want to make sure we see that color on the hair and that we're applying it, fully saturating the hair to thin sections. As long as you do that, you're going to let it sit for 5 to 15 minutes before rinsing it till the water runs clear. At 5 minutes, you've got your deposit of pigment. So that's going to be your lighter tones, your platinum blondes, trying to cancel out any yellow in the hair, or some of your pastel shades, or even as a quick toner or refresh in the salon. At 15 minutes, you have your full saturation of pigment, which means the hair is not going to go any deeper or darker. You're not going to get any more deposit if you let it sit for 45. At 15 minutes, it's done its job. So just be aware of that. If you're in a pinch and you're running behind, or you have a client waiting and you need to let this sit on the hair for 25 minutes, it won't hurt it. So at 15 minutes, you have full saturation of pigment or full deposit of pigment, with the exception of platinum. Platinum is something that will continue to tone the hair. So we do want to watch our processing time on platinum. If you let platinum sit too long in the hair, you might get into that overtoning situation. So have that kind of violet hue to it, which can easily be shampooed to kind of take it back a little bit. But we do recommend 3 to 5 minute processing time with our platinum, whether it be conditioner or the shampoo.
So Tatiana, you were asking about like how to use black, and also for lower maintenance per gray, right? If you're going back to like a more silvery gray color, is that correct? Because I can show you how I use it, and I tweaked the formula of Silver Fox just so slightly. If you want to see how I use black in that as well, and then. Yeah, we'll do that. You want to do that? Perfect. So
yeah,
I'm gonna put your
that would
screen.
be great, Joey.
All right. Can you guys see that? I know it's hard to see, but I don't know if you can see the scale part of it. But I'm just gonna do.
Yeah, we can. It looks good.
I'm gonna do the Silver Fox formula, which is retail of 8 grams of chocolate, 8 grams of black, and 64 grams of clear. So with my reverting back, you have to process that hair a lot. It takes a very long time. And so it's really kind of very porous sometimes. So I use clear with Stano as my diluter instead of conditioner base. Why I do that? Because it's more conditioning. It has more shine to it. And these are just pigments in a conditioner base. So this conditioner is super, super amazing for, repairing all that stuff. So that's why I use this instead of the conditioner for that. So I'm going to do 8 grams. Let's see, turn that on. I already shook it up a little bit. So we're going to do 8 grams of chocolate. Remember, this is a warmer chocolate color. All right. I did 8.5. Oh, well. And black. And the other thing too, guys, is I'm not OCD. So it's very forgiving. So you don't have to get it right on spot with the numbers. If you go over 0.5 grams, you can always over correct it, I guess, with conditioner base. But that 1 gram is not going to change the whole formula, just for me. But if you guys are rule followers, then you can do that. 8 grams of black. So remember, this is a blue black to smoke it out a little bit. And, oh, there it goes. 8. So we're going to 16 grams altogether. And then 64 grams of conditioner base. So this is going to be your clear diluter or your white paint. And then we're going to just go all the way up to 80 grams.
So just to call out why Joey is using Stano clear. This can be, you know, if he was, say, out of the back bar repair conditioner base, this could be used in place to dilute back your pigment. So it acts as a clear conditioner base. It's similar to that. Our Stano and FabPro systems go hand in hand. So I know today is really about FabPro, but just want to make you all aware that Stano itself can also be mixed into these customized maintenance conditioners to help maintain those vivid shades or those stain-based dyes that we use in salon. So just being aware, that's why he's done so, as they really go hand in hand and can be intermixed together.
And so also the way I change this, especially for my gray reversals, or they want to keep their gray, a lot of that underlining pigment that brassiness and that yellow can kind of show through a little bit. So I always save about 4 to 5 grams for my platinum conditioner base. That is not that's shampoo. They look very similar. There you go, platinum. And I'm just gonna add 5 grams of that in my formula. And there we go, perfect. And that's why I use the platinum, just to give it extra, just an extra boost of that cooling anti-brass feel to it. And there's my formula for basically a silver black. And that's 80 grams total in there. You shake it up. And with this formula, you want to use gloves. It is a silver formula, but there's that black pigment, which is super pigmented. So by putting it on your nails will stain, but it won't stain the shower. I haven't had any people say that it stains the shower or anything. My husband had a really cool rose gold hair color one time, and it was like a red rose gold, and it didn't stain my white shower. So, so this one, because we use platinum in there, it's going to have that silvery tone, but it has a little bit of that purple overshadow as well. Just the platinum in there, but that's your like silver maintenance. And it's beautiful on the hair too. Also, we also have swatches, hair swatches on that you can purchase as well. They sit at a level 9. You can use those if you're trying different formulas for in-salon, so you can see what it looks like on like a level 9 swatch for that. So, but that's a retail formula. I would do a different thing, like 1 gram of chocolate, 1 gram of black, and 18 grams of conditioner for my salon formula, if I'm going to do that for my toner.
I can chime in that my son has used my orange conditioner to wash our shower walls, and it did scrub off just fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit of elbow grease, but we got it. But that's what's so great about the Stano and Fabuloso Pro being intermixable. And we can touch up on Stano at the end of this because it's just like it's just a little sister product just on steroids. So, but yeah, that's why I like using it, because you can interchange the pigment load and the intensity and the shine with Stano and Fabuloso Pro, mixing it in your salon formula or your retail take homes.
Yeah, you know what, Joey? We're working on about, let's see, it's 11:37. We want this to be over at 12. So what I'm going to recommend is for any of the attendees here, if you have a question that you would like to ask Joey, feel free to either pop it in the chat or let us know that you have a question and we can jump it over to you. You can ask Joey live. In the meantime, Carrie, I see that you dropped in some information on Stano into the chat that people can download. What exactly is that document that you put in there?
That's just one of the Stano intros. It's the one Joey was referencing earlier. It comes with 24 free repair bays. So at whatever you retail them for, let's call it $40 a pop, you're making the full investment back on Stano.
Let me see, 24 times 40, that's 400, 800, and 800, and is that 960? I think that's $960 that you make selling 24 repair bases at $40. So Joey, let's talk a little bit about Stano, because obviously it's intermixable. You know, you're sending people home with these customized bases. My brother Kerry, who's on the call right now, went platinum blonde, and then he went. What color formula did you do, Kerry?
It was mostly neon yellow with a dash of lime, and it was mostly neon yellow.
And you brought home a customized conditioning base. Of course, that was one of our great educators here in the New England market that did you, Tasha Judson, and she specializes, you know, I'll drop her little Instagram link in the chat too, so you can see, because she specializes in fashion tones. But that, I remember that glow in the dark yellow remained vibrant for like a couple months, right?
Yeah, I looked like Billie Eilish at the Emmys. It was awesome. It is UV reflective, the yellow. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if you go to a nightclub, which there's no nightclubs open, it does glow in the dark.
Carrie actually came to Cosmoprof in Las Vegas with that neon hair, and we had just launched Stano, so we were super excited to see it. But I remember he was definitely glowing in the dark in those Vegas bars.
So Joey, have you yet mixed Stano into any of your Fab Pro repair bases?
Almost all the time, but it depends on what I'm doing, especially with my fashion color clients. So that I do a lot of like rose golds. I do a lot of pastel violets and things like that. So I will use this because Stano is literally I think it's 4 times the amount of pigment than we would have in one of our intensifiers. So it's super, super pigmented, which lasts up to 50 washes, depending on the level of your hair, the porosity of your hair, and also what shade you use. So if you're using pastel colors and you're diluting it with the clear, it's not going to last up to 50 washes, right? Because it doesn't have the full pigment load. But with your maintenance, it's going to last even longer, which is awesome for those color hair. You spend 4 hours in a salon and it washes out in a week. And guess who gets blamed for it? We do, you know? So, but it's just the nature of that. So make sure you're having a good conversation, an honest conversation to your clients about how long these colors will last in there. As I said too, there's 10 to, oh, that's awesome. That's cool. It is up to 50 washes. So even the competitors, I know a lot of people use Pulp Riot, Pravana, things like that. I believe Pravana lasts up to 30 washes. Pulp Riot lasts up to about 20 to 25 on their deeper pigments. So this outbeats the game so much with that. So yeah, we definitely do that. A lot of my rose gold formulas have fuchsia in it. Fuchsia and lavender are my like top ones. If I'm making a super silvery color, one of my formulas is a lot of clear with lavender. Lavender is your violet base as well. So you can make a really, really icy silver blonde with this as a toner, and they can maintain it right at home in their take homes as well. So yeah, I use this in a more natural way, as I said, but I have the whole Stanos just in case if my client comes in and wants to do a crazy fashion color.
Neat little testimonial in the chat from Brittany. She writes that she loves Stano so much and that it's way better than Pulp Riot. I have heard from many educators who have tried the different fashion tone lines that are out there that Stano just has lasting power and vibrancy, like above and beyond. And, you know, frankly, we have a couple here at Sullivan Beauty, and this guy is definitely the front runner in terms of pigment load and lastability. I'm curious to know, you mentioned that your husband had a rose gold formula. Did you do his hair, I imagine? And if so, how did you formulate for him?
I've been trying to kick him out of my chair for years, but he doesn't. When you're married to somebody, you know, you gotta do it. And if you guys have questions, yes, I am married. I'm not available. I'm not single, so you can keep those questions to yourself. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, we did that. It was the vintage rose color, but I just added a little bit more fuchsia in it to intensify it a little bit more. So that's what I kind of did. That vintage rose is so popular when people see it because it's like a really nice rosy gold pink in it. So that was pretty cool. And, you know, it was in the shower and it was, the retail was in the shower. So it lasted a very long time for that. But what's so great too is you can, if they want something really intense and their hair is already blonde and processed, they can jump in your hair, rinse it out, mix up their formula, put it on for 15 minutes, rinse it out. It's a really, really quick service for them. So it's awesome for if you're running behind and you want to tone it really quick and give them a good deep conditioning as well. You can put this on the bowl for 15 minutes and you can catch back up on time. We did a product knowledge class last week or a couple weeks ago, Tyler, and just that, you know, using great hydrator or a deep conditioner treatment in there kind of can be an added service for you as well, but also catch you up if you don't have an assistance to help. But yeah.
Joey, is that vintage rose formula, is the swatch in the swatch book? Could you show that to us for a hot minute? And then you said you added fuchsia to it.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like.
Okay.
Pretty cool. The salon formula is 2 grams of red, 1 gram of yellow, and then 1 gram of chocolate to give it a little bit of depth, and then 16 grams of conditioner base. So what I did was I added 4 grams of fuchsia to really give it a punch. One, it will last a little bit longer too, but I just decreased the conditioner. So instead of doing, it was 12 grams of conditioner and 4 grams of fuchsia. So if you're going to customize these and add a little bit more, you just have to take away some of the pigment as well, which is conditioner based. Or you know what, if you want to do it for just funsies, just add a little bit of dab to it as a booster to that 20 grams. Just make sure if you're reformulating that you accommodate that little booster as well.
Samantha Lacoste writes into the chat. Oh, go ahead, Joey. Did you want to show us something else?
No, I just wanted to show that rose gold color.
That's a beautiful formula. When you do shadow roots with Fab Pro, do you find it just washes right out to the raw highlights, or it keeps the base soft?
It keeps the base soft depending on how dark you're going with your low light or your shadow root. When I'm mixing up a shadow root, I usually do like a level 6 per se. It really blends out that softness of those highlights, but it does fade out really, really well and really soft. So there's no harsh lines, but it fades true to tone. So you're not going to get weird underlining pigments, but just make sure that there isn't a lot of brassiness, or you lift to the correct level and then put a shadow root on there and make it really soft. I do this little flicking technique on my shadow roots, my bases, to like really like blend out. That's why I like the brushes so much, the Fab Pro brushes, because it gives you a very nice soft tip brush out to that. But also it gives your client a temporary kind of preview before putting an actual toner over top or anything. Because I mean, how many times we get that Pinterest photo and you're like, okay, that's like, you know, a 3-inch root, you know, and then they're like, oh my God, that looks like I didn't even get my hair done. But you know, it gives you like a little trial too.
It's like leasing versus buying. And then Samantha follows up to ask, how long do you typically process for that shadow root? How long would you leave Fab Pro?
15 minutes.
15.
I do the full 15 for those just because I want to make sure that it's completely processed and done that. But as Caitlin said, it stops processing because it's ammonia free and peroxide free, that it's just direct deposit. It's not going to do more than what 15 minutes will do. I always say, we're all American here, or well, some of us are, but you know, if we're like 5 minutes is good, 50 minutes is better, and not in this situation. It's just going to stop at 15 minutes. So yeah, process for the full time. If you're going to take it off earlier, just know that it's not fully processed. And you're not going to get the full pigment in there. But my pastels, I always process for 15 minutes.
Okay. You know, what I want to do at this point in time is I want to kick it back to Tatiana for a hot minute and just ask, because she was the one who kind of instigated this class in the first place. Tatiana, do you have any other questions for Joey, or have we addressed the questions that you really want to get tackled in your class with him?
Yeah, I think you and Joey covered them. It was really just one, I had never had a fab class. And I've been using this product way too long to have never had one. So just getting that full background knowledge of why we're mixing certain tones together, why we have chocolate, why we have black, and you know, how I can utilize that in the salon.
Okay, great. And then I have a question for you, Tatiana. You know, you've been a Davines educator for a number of years, so you know your stuff too within that family, of course. Did you find Fab Pro easy, even without a class? And let me just go back to say, we didn't sell you Fab Pro in the first place because you would have had a damn class. But do you find it easy to formulate your take-home colors with the Fab Pro line without having had a class? And if so, what are you using as a reference piece to do that?
Absolutely. It's something that, well, you have the back bar book is one of the, and it's like 46 pages of like 10 different color lines. But because it's all color wheel knowledge, it's all our basic color theory, it's really easy to create your, you know, your base level and what you need within that level to make the tone you want. And if I want a copper, I'm still going to need some red. I'm still going to need a little violet if it's way too bright. So yeah, it's definitely not something that I've had to, you know, you don't have to rack your brain to figure it out. And then having the swatch book and all that is a really good, you know, starting point for customizing your colors.
And to jump off that, I was literally just going to say, it's really intimidating when you see all these colors, but you have to, everything Evo is about simplifying your mind a little bit. This is just the color wheel, you know? So if you want to, you know, add a little bit more warmth, then you're going to add a little bit more yellow. You know, there's all these little things that is so basic for us that we're so used to, especially color. You just take it out of the box and mix it up, and then there it is. This is really just basically going down to basics about hair school and the color wheel. So always have that color wheel available as well. But that's how we formulate. So just knowing the underlying pigments as well, with like chocolate being a little bit more yellow based, or black being blue based, you know, you can kind of vary from there too with your formulations.
Yeah, and what you'll see, guys, throughout this whole class is, you know, our fabulous team from Evo and Sullivan Beauty have been posting tools and reference points for you guys in the chat. Caitlin has just shared with us the Evo Fab Pro wall chart. The Fab Pro wall chart, actually, Caitlin, if you'd just give us a brief summary of what they would find on that Fab Pro wall chart after downloading it from the chat, that would be great.
Sure. This is a great back wall chart, so you can put it in the back, you know, stock room for your salon. It's got some points to remember. So it references color maintenance conditioners in the prescription, how much pigment should go in those retail conditioner bases, which are kind of very dependent on level of hair, meaning you might have 70 grams of pigment in your conditioner base, but you're always sending your client home with 80 grams total. So that additional 10 grams of pigment, there we go, would come from the conditioner base. Now this is sideways because it is a larger printout, so that you can see it once it's on the back wall. So it gives you that kind of mixing guideline or ratios so you can easily access that information. And then it just kind of references, you know, when you're doing an in-salon application, points to remember, etc. So I think this is a really great tool as a quick reminder for you. And then page 2 is actually our color fill chart. So it suggests.
Internet cut out.
Oh,
she just cut out. I can overlap on her. So yeah, this is our color fill chart. So this gives you what level your target level is, what your undertone is, and then your formula with that. So you can actually put this on. You can apply and leave on for processing. So you actually apply this in damp towel dried hair and then apply your fill tone over there. You can either wash it out, or you can actually put this, your demi-permanent color, over top of this formula as well. For that. So in my experience, I like to rinse that out and then apply my my color toner over top of that undertone formula.
Beautiful. That's great.
Also, to reference what goes in the bottles, there's on that big chart, it said, you know, if you're at a level 5, put all 80 grams of that color pigment in. And as you go down, you know, to or go up into like a level 9 pastel colors, it tells you how much pigment, 10 grams of pigment to 70 grams of conditioner base. It's a really good chart just to kind of keep in mind. And then also, Tatiana, that color book that we had, the color menu with all the different formulas with that, just a reminder of that book. It is a little older. So when we reformulated the 80 grams, those are 60 gram formulas in there. So just make sure that you are just adding extra pigment in those to create 80 grams for the take homes. And same thing with the salon formulas, 20 grams. So it was just an older version. It was just for the older book, but just a little cap on that. If you're still using that to reference whatever color line you're using.
Awesome, thank you.
If people want to get in touch with you, Joey, with any follow-up questions, what would you recommend the best way to go about doing that?
Just follow me on Instagram. Just slip into my DMs. It's at Stylist Joey, STYLIST JOEY. You can be part of the Rue Crew is what I call you all. And you can just slip in my DMs with any questions. I am behind the chair still. So I will get back to you within 48 hours. But yeah, with all your little formulation questions or anything, I'm an open book.
We're happy to have you. Carrie, do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share with our attendees today?
It's just fun to be able to do a class with so many different salons, you know, in a traditional pre-COVID environment. We're working one-off with each one of you, and to have such a collection is really exciting. And Joey, you did amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
But we want to thank you for sharing your Monday morning with us. We want to thank Joey, our @Stylist Joey, our educator today, for walking us through everything. Thank you, pal. And I'm going to look forward to checking you out on TikTok to see how you do that color shift with Fab Pro.
Yeah. Thank you. I can't wait. All right,
thanks, guys. Bye, everyone. See you soon. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.